At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Accessing
the best radio in Utah is right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, kicking off the 11 o'clock hour. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb. We do it every day from 10 to 2 right here on the Zone. All right, so we talked a lot of NFL as we get you ready for the start of the NFL season, which is what, 42?
43 days away.
43 days away from today. The NFL will kick off the season. We are just 30 days away from kicking off week 0 in the college football season. So we are less than a month away from college football, folks.
Just keep your head down. Just keep your head down. Just keep the days moving, and it'll be here before you know.
Yeah, we can't wait, man. Cannot wait. And look, there's a lot of drama going on in terms of the landscape of the NFL and college football. And the NBA has kind of quieted down, and I think we're pretty much locked and loaded for, everybody was just sitting back and waiting. Adam Silver was sitting back and waiting. Everybody was waiting until we found out whether or not Draymond Green would re-sign with the Warriors.
And it was huge that he did. For the amount of money as well, just massive for the league.
No, LeBron's on his way to Philadelphia. Philly now is a title contender on paper. And Joel Embiid, who now is committed to be fully in shape. Like, you've been in the league for a decade, and now you're like, oh, you know what? This year, guess what? I'm going to be in shape.
I'm really impressed with you, LeBron. You just wait. But that's been I said it. That's been their issue for a while. When a guy plays 36 of a possible 82, 38 of a possible 82, and 19 of a possible 82 3 years in a row, a little bit of an issue there.
And a lot of people are like, hey, you can't, that's a personal shot at him. Look, it could be or it could not be. It doesn't matter. Either way, you're not on the court. Whether or not the injury is legitimate, regardless of how tough you are, the facts are you're not on the court. So you're either injury prone or you're that would be a weird subset to look at online. Anyway, you're either injury prone or you're just weak. You're soft. Either way, it doesn't matter. You're not on the court.
And that's where you're paid to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, shots are not. That's your job. You're a former MVP. And Tony Jones said it yesterday. This whole thing in Philly is nice. It's great. It's fun. It's great to think about the talented guards, Jaylen Brown, LeBron, guys coming off the bench like KCP and all that. But there is one big piece that has to perform for this team to actually compete for a title, to be considered a contender, and that's the big guy.
And I keep getting asked, and I'm going to let you just take full control of this conversation. In fact, I was at my local Maverick, and I had a listener come up and say, hey, so when are the Jazz going to get a big man? When are the Jazz going to get a big man? And my answer is, I think what you see is pretty much what you get right now. There's not going to be – now, there could be, leading up to trade deadline, especially if the Jazz get hot and they just need another piece just to make sure that they're a viable playoff team. But I don't see any big roster movement coming up here for the Jazz.
I don't either. I really don't. I feel like, the decision when Walker made that decision, that was his decision to make. The Jazz were willing to go to a certain point, but when he walked, that just opened up, a door. And I don't know how long this corridor will last. But what the Jazz will be doing is playing the center by committee. And, the good thing about it is Nurk was really good here last year.
Yes.
In terms of his career, definitely took a turn up. Got to get better defensively and some of those things. And I feel like that's the part Will Hardy will really focus on in training camp, is figure out how to get this to be a functional defense where guys are given effort, but also the schemes are tight. So that's one piece of it. But this is going to be a corridor the Jazz walk until another opportunity that's appealing presents itself.
So Tony did say something yesterday that I wanted to run past you because this caught me a little bit off guard. He has the Jazz as right about either a play-in team or, 6-5 in that range, 8-7-6 in that range. He said that if the Jazz were able to get the Walker Kessler thing done, that they would be a top 4 team. That seems like a big jump. And in that case, maybe Walker Kessler, if that is true, which I don't think it is, but if it is true, then Walker Kessler may have been worth $38 to $40 million.
Well, I think this year, for sure, it would have made things a little smoother. And, would that ensure, like paying him that much money, would that pay dividends in a few years? I would think not.
Yeah.
But in this particular year, and it's why I think the Jazz, to a certain extent, were willing to go as far as they did, because it's set up for this year. And the one thing that Walker can really define is defense and rebounding. I mean, the one thing he is very similar to Gobert in, when he's on the floor, people are aware of it. And the rim opportunities aren't as plentiful. And so that's going to be the biggest thing with it. Without him is how the Jazz protect the rim, and they're going to have to do it together. You mentioned Tony mentioned yesterday Jaren Jackson doesn't rebound, or not a great rebounder. You can go look at the numbers. I actually am going to go out on a limb and say he's going to get better in that area, because I watched John Collins come in here after shooting 29% from 3, and his first year with the Jazz, he shot 43%, I think, from 3 that year. Guys, it's a unique experience here, I think. Nurk was able to have an uptick because the ball moves around and guys are able to be a part of it. So I feel like until they are able to find another center, whether that be through a trade, through another draft, whatever it may be, a situation I've mentioned a few times, like Memphis, where there's turmoil in the locker room. And it may not be the guy causing the turmoil that you got to move, but you got to move some pieces to unwedge kind of some of that mess. That's what Memphis did to get their rebuild started. So the Jazz are just keeping their head on a swivel, and they're certainly going forward. They've got a ton of talent, but it's not going to be exactly the way they had it drawn up, because I think in their heart of hearts they had Walker sitting there at the 5. And I do think for sure this year that would have made a major difference. I think I've changed my mind. I had the Jazz in that top 6 for sure, without question, with Walker. And now I'm saying make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just get in some way. Play in, playoff, whatever it is. That's the step they need to take. And I'm not ready to say with this center by committee that they're able to do what they were able to do with Walker. So I've kind of reworked my expectations too.
I do think that if I'm Austin Ainge and Justin Zanuck, I'm looking at, you mentioned that Memphis situation was just ripe for the picking. I do not panic trade, which, by the way, there's never panic in that front office.
No, that's where you lose.
Exactly. So I'm preaching to the choir. Like, no way they would do this. But if you're a Jazz fan, just know that the Jazz will not panic trade to find a way to solidify that position going into the start of the season. What they'll do is they're going to take their war chest, especially all that stuff they got from the Lakers, in exchange for Walker Kessler, and they're going to sit on it and just wait to poach. They're going to wait till the game warden looks the other way. They're going to take their 12 gauge into old man Bob's field, and they're going to knock down a couple pheasants because they're just waiting for something to happen. That, you're not getting Triple J before the start of the season last year. But when that thing got crazy, you can go ahead and pick off that guy.
Exactly. I mean, he would have been a guy that a lot of people have thought you probably couldn't go get, But Ja Morant made him available. Because Ja couldn't pull color in the lines.
And those situations usually pop up in the course of a regular season. You get a team that, for some reason, the locker room just blew up, or they're losing and everybody's grumpy, and there's pressure on a front office to do something or to shut it down. And they're like, all right, we're having a fire sale. We're having an estate sale. Come in and grab anything you want. Let's go. And the Jazz need to have those assets available, so when that opportunity comes, they can swoop in and maybe get that big man before the trade deadline.
So in the short term, everybody's going to have to do a little more.
Yep.
And, those centers that come in are going to have to play they're going to have to play solid. They're going to have to understand the assignment. Ball screens are going to be vital, how you guard ball screens. But again, I'm looking at Jaren Jackson. Let's just look at his rebounding numbers. In his career, in the 8 years he's played, his best year rebounding in the basketball was 6.8 rebounds. This year he won the Defensive Player of the Year back in 2022-23. He dropped last year all the way to 4.3 rebounds. So in my mind, this is a guy that's one area. If I'm sitting in a room with him, look, man, I know you can shoot it. I know you're going to be great for us offensively, but we have a hole, and we're going to need everybody to do a better job in these areas, rebounding one of them. I'm going to challenge you to get 7 a game. Most you've ever gotten, 6.8. I'm going to challenge you to get 7. And I think that's what you do. You ask guys to stretch a little bit.
Is he? And you think he's capable of that?
I mean, he's got the body to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys don't read the ball very well, and that plays against them. But I do believe that he can do better than certainly do better than 4.3. I mean, you're talking about in some cases that's a guard's number, so he's got to do a better job of that.
Yeah, and the thing too is having to play him at times out of position. I mean, you want him at the 4, right? I mean, you don't want
you don't want him at the 5.
But he may be forced to play some at the 5.
There'll be some rotations, I'm sure, where it actually makes sense in the game.
Yeah,
because other teams have to go small too. So you have a small lineup, and he'd be a perfect small ball 5. You just can't play it very much, I don't think.
No. So Nurk, get ready. You love it here. You talk about how much you love it here. Well, guess what? Time to show you love it here.
The other guy that I think will punch above his weight in this calling, and I think last year was a huge boon to that, is Filipowski.
You've been on the Flip bandwagon all year.
I just like that Flip allows, he's one of those guys in the locker room that'll go do the dirty stuff, right? And last year with the injury to Walker, he was almost by necessity. Is like he almost had to go in on it. I don't know if you've ever seen that show 60 Days In, where they put just a regular person in jail and they basically go in there undercover and they have cameras and stuff and they tell the experience. I mean, that's what Flip's deal was last year. He is a very skilled big guy who was forced to go down there and just muck it up with the biggest dudes in the league. And so I think by him doing that, having the experience of doing that, and actually coming out at the other side pretty well. I mean, I look at his numbers last year. You talk about rebounding. He's just been in the league 2 years, but in rebounding last year per game, Flip averaged 11 rebounds a game. 11.
Wow.
In how many minutes? He played 1,800 minutes total, but he averaged 11 rebounds a game. So you asked me the question, can Jaren do it? Well, Flip's built nothing like Jaren.
Yeah.
And so a lot of rebounding is want to, or know-how's a part of it, but the biggest part is want to.
Yeah. Just, are you willing to get in there and throw some elbows? I
mean, 11 rebounds a game. Oh, that's 36. I'm sorry. I'm going per 36. That was a major rookie mistake on my part. Let me get this actual stats. Okay, here we go. Per game. I was wrong. It's 7.2. But still.
Still not bad.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
In 23 minutes a game, he's getting 7. So I do feel like he's a guy, when he comes in and he has to play some of those minutes at the 5, he'll be ready to do it.
And plus he gives you that stretch element too. So I mean,
and he can handle it and DHOs, back cuts, all that stuff. He's proficient passing the ball,
which is a lot what Triple J can do too. So I mean, look, you got some opportunities there. There's certainly some things that I'm excited about with this Jazz team. So do you have to temper your expectations a little bit? Sure. Do you have to? But also, I think you brought up a good point too in terms of the long term. This is probably a better situation for the Jazz long term with the picks and not getting tied up in a contract for 5 years.
Well, that one overpay could cost you a chance at elongating a contention window, right? Because this is such a year-by-year business now with these contracts the way they are. And if you go out there and overpay Walker, and the overpay was pretty immense.
Yes, the Jazz would have had to probably come up with 38, 39 million.
And it's just too much.
It is.
It's just too much. So they made the right move, and you just have to understand that they did. It may cause some pain this year, but a couple of years down the road, I think everybody's going to look back and go, that was the right decision.
Yeah. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard alongside the coach, Tim LaComb. Coming up a little bit later on in the program, Dan Woken will join us. Always good catching up with him in terms of the landscape of college football, see what he thinks is on the horizon. Also, we will continue our tour around the Big 12 Conference and some of the other upcoming opponents. We'll talk a little Kansas football with Henry Greenstein, coming up at the at 105. I don't know. What is it about guys? I'm just looking at Henry's bio. There is something in the water down there in Phoenix. If you apparently went to because PK didn't just go to Arizona State. What does PK say? I went to the Cronkite School of Journalism, the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. Like, I get it. That's great. Good for you. Walter Cronkite, love him. Sure, he's a bastion of journalism. But everybody who comes out of that program wants to flaunt Walter Cronkite. Henry Greenstein on his bio goes through and goes, at Cronkite ASU grad. Okay, good. Does that make me want to follow you on Twitter more? I'll follow him because he's covering Kansas. I should probably not be saying this before he comes on. I should probably wait till after he comes on to say this stuff.
What is the broadcasting school at Utah State called?
I have no idea.
I was just wondering.
I don't think it's got a name. At least when I went there. It's like, hey, let's go. Let's get to work.
Let's study.
Let's figure out how to do this thing and go make your mark on the world.
I'm headed down to the Cronkite to do some research.
You know what? It's like Joe Schmuckatelli School of Journalism. Why? Because we're grinders. We show up every day. We do our job. We do it better than everybody else, and then we go home. We don't need any special name of some dude that was on 60 Minutes 80 years ago. We don't need that. No. We're all about getting the job done.
I took a crash course in broadcasting through the Barry Melrose Academy. It was just a 3-week program. They required you grow your hair long.
Yeah, you got to have the mullet if you're going to be the Barry Melrose
if you're
School.
going to represent the Melrose. So that's where I hang my hat.
11:25. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
It is your good, it is your bad, it is your ugly right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right. We take some of the good stories. There's a lot of bad, and usually there's a lot of ugly. This is a time of year where there's a lot of ugly, too, because guys have a little time on their hands. NBA's over. It was right before training camp. The NFL's going to cool down a little bit because guys are going to be in camp and they're going to be too busy to get into trouble, although some will still find a way. But this is when you see the influx of DUIs and all kinds of nasty stuff.
Tony Romo, of
all people, getting a DUI. Tony, come on.
He was just going to Grandma and Grandpa's.
Did you guys watch the TMZ video that was released yesterday?
The funny thing is, I'm hearing a bunch of pushback that he may have some, I don't know, that he may not have been, and that he may have a case or something along those lines. You know how social media gets your head going.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tony was. Did he avoid the test, the field sobriety test? Because a lot of those guys are told, don't take the field sobriety test.
I saw him. He tried to call his lawyer, and the officer was not letting him call his lawyer.
That's probably why. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it'll be a thing. You watch.
All right. So, Team USA in soccer makes their run. All right. They get to the Sweet 16 before getting bounced in that round. But there feels like there's a lot of momentum for Team USA soccer. So, do you keep the coach in place? Well, Alex, yes. It appears that way as U.S. Soccer close on deal to renew United States men's national team coach. All right, Alex, the floor is yours. Good move, bad move. Keeping him around.
Start the clock.
No.
Oh,
you
wait.
get plenty of time.
All right.
I think it is a good move. I definitely thought that heading into the World Cup, I had a lot of questions about the team defensively. I had a lot of questions about the team's midfield. But overall, I thought that they punched above their weight through the group stage. And even in that game against Bosnia, and they played really, really well. But the thing that concerns me is just that moment, right, when you probably needed your best performance, you come in and you have your worst against Belgium. I think overall, though, he is the right choice moving forward. I hope that he sticks around for the next cycle, which is the next 4 years, right, leading up to that 2030 World Cup, so he can really put his stamp on this team in the pool. And I think ultimately, right, if he didn't continue, I just don't know if there's any coach right now out there who can really replace him and can really be successful with the U.S. men's national team. So I think a good move overall.
Mauricio Pochettino? Did I say that right?
Mauricio Pochettino.
Mauricio.
Yeah,
Okay, Mauricio. All right. Yeah, I agree. Because the question is, who else out there is better? That's what we always say when people are sending out tweets, fire this coach, fire this coach. The question is, who else out there is better? So if you're going to fire somebody, you better make sure that you know you can get somebody better. A lot of ADs get themselves into trouble because they fire a guy and then they realize nobody really wants this job.
Hand me that file over there and let me look through some more names that somebody might be interested.
Because nobody really wants it. There would be a lot of people that would want it, but is he the best? And it certainly seems like that would be the case. You don't want to screw around. The other good is for the fifth time in BYU basketball history, and you were part of a couple of these, BYU is heading back to the Maui Invitational. Now, there's a lot of tournaments. I called games in the Diamond Head. There's some tournaments over there, but this is the crown jewel, right?
Yeah, it's a crown jewel. Always kind of has been. Do a great job of, just making it an event. And, it's fun for the fans to go over. We took a ton of people both times we went. Didn't have a crazy amount of success in the tournament itself, but we were, I think the biggest, we lost some heartbreakers. We lost a couple overtime games over there. One particular, we played Purdue, and as I call them, Purdon't. And they had a big guy like Edie, but his last name was Haws. Haws, big old Spencer.
Yes.
Not Spencer, but I can't remember his first name. But he's a big old dude.
I remember that dude.
And he just caused a lot of problems for us.
I mean, he's stereotypical Iowa. They always have those dudes.
Yep. And then they had a great shooter that really hurt us from three. But the thing that I remember the most is just a little Cracker Box gym there in Lahaina, and I had to use the restroom so bad during the Purdue game, and I think it went I think it was 2 overtimes. So at the end of first overtime, if you're watching the tape, like everybody's running to the bench to come, recoup and get ready for the next overtime. And you see me in my Hawaiian shirt sprinting for the opposite end. I went in there, ran up there and saw if I could, it was just number one. So don't get worried.
It was a
quickie.
It was a 30-second timeout, not a full.
May have been a minute the way I held it, and the way I drink Diet Coke. But everybody had a lot of fun with that one on the staff, even though
you see that flower shirt just booming up those stairs.
I was just sprinting for the other end and up the stairs.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you're calling a broadcast and nature strikes and you're like, whew.
You're looking around for.
Yeah, you're trying to get everything situated before the game, and then
but you have surprises.
Overtime, double overtime hits, and eesh.
Go easy on the soda.
That's when I'm with Alex, and I'm like, Alex, you may have to add a minute to this break. We're in trouble. So BYU will play Washington. So it's a showdown against our guy, Danny Sprinkle, and the Huskies. November 23rd. And the winner of that game will get the winner of the Ole Miss Clemson game. The loser will get the loser of that game. The other side of the bracket, VCU, Providence, Colorado State, and Arizona. So you could potentially see a Big 12 showdown if Arizona continues on and BYU continues on. You could see early season matchup between those two.
Yeah, I think this is going to be Kevin's toughest year. I think he's got great talent again. But if you look at year one, he had Yegor, who's doing great things in the NBA, and then he had that freak of nature. I can't remember his name. Was it 2 initials? AJ? Yeah, AJ.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He was actually massive last year as well for BYU.
I heard he was pretty good.
Number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
First time ever. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Pretty crazy.
I'll be darned.
Didn't have a lot of those when I was there. But I think that, the young guy he's got coming in this year, Bruce Branch, is very well thought of. But if you're looking at the lottery, he's probably on the edge or just outside. So I think they're going to lean a lot on Colin Chandler. I certainly like the dude they just signed from Poland, 24 years old.
24 years old.
Coming over to make things here in the Americas.
Hey, look, BYU always gets talked about having 22, 23, 24-year-olds. So why
He
why
just
should
didn't
this
go on
be
a
any
mission.
different?
He was in Poland playing hoop. So come say, come sa.
All right, there's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
Ole Miss isn't messing around. They're tired of Lane Kiffin and LSU. They are now suing 2 former football players who signed revenue-sharing contracts to return to Ole Miss and then decided to join Lane Kiffin at LSU. So the 2 players that are currently being sued, Devin Harper and Prince Will Unamanellan, nailed it. $400,000 and $550,000 for those 2 players, plus attorney's fees, plus court costs in a breach of contract complaint. Here's your quote from Ole Miss. The University of Mississippi values its student athletes and is committed to honoring all obligations made to them. In return, the university expects that same commitment from its student athletes and their representatives in upholding their contracts. Before transferring to another institution, these student athletes signed revenue-sharing agreements that included a provision requiring them to compensate the university with a predetermined amount if they departed before fulfilling their commitment. All right, look, I'm all for look, if we're going to live in this world of free transfers, there has to be some level of accountability. So I don't care if Lane Kiffin pays this bill. I don't care if the kids pay this bill. I don't care if some LSU booster swoops in and pays it. Somebody needs to pay Ole Miss this money, because if a kid, the one thing that universities are trying to do to try to keep guys in place are signing them. Look, if you sign with us and we give you this money, you can't leave until that contract's over. And if you do leave, there's going to be financial issues. And these guys chose to leave. Fine, whatever. Within the NCAA rules, they can do that. But you did break a contract. And I don't care if it's a car, I don't care if it's a house, whatever the case is, you sign your name on a dotted line, you say you're going to do something, and if you don't do it, there's going to be consequences. You can't come crying foul when they're like, well, these guys want their money. Yeah, of course they want their money. You left them after signing a contract. This is how real life works. That's what college is about, is learning how to function in the real world. Sorry, you signed your name on a contract, then you wanted to go to LSU. You owe them money. Go pay them their money.
And that's been the biggest thing for me. It's like, we're not necessarily doing these guys any life favors, because I don't know how many jobs you walk into without doing one thing and being, paid the amount of money a lot of these guys are getting. So to be able to balance it out, to be able to have accountability, what's right is right, I'm with you. I think that's just it's unfortunately a necessary part of the way things are being done, but you can't leave it where somebody's getting hurt.
All right, there's your bad. Let's get to the ugly.
And of course, the ugly.
Brandon Ayuk, man, this dude, no good. Now, Kyle Shanahan got himself into a nasty car accident. We talked about it yesterday. This was not just a fender bender. This dude was in a serious car accident, multiple injuries, breaking his nose, 3 ribs, his hand, 40 stitches on his face. According to Chris Sims, almost lost his right eye. And in the aftermath of all of that, Brandon Ayuk, who is trying desperately to get out of San Francisco, said the first sent on Instagram, said, you can't win the race if you crash out. keep your head up and stay in your own lane. You're going to win. Now, here's the thing. Kyle Shanahan has admitted that he reached down to pick up a phone that he had dropped, which led to him getting into that accident. Which, look, Kyle Shanahan, first off, we all know about phone safety in cars. But I do appreciate the fact because he's going to open himself up to a massive lawsuit from the person he hit. He's going to pay them out. There's going to be a civil suit, I'm sure. Like, he is going to be paying out the nose. And he just admitted, yeah, I screwed up. Like, I reached down for my phone. I swerved over into the other lane. I hit this person. I take full accountability for that. And then he's got Brandon Ayuk saying, keep your head up and stay in your own lane. You're going to win.
Yeah, Ayuk is, we talked about character earlier in the program, and this is a whole nother level. The stuff he's been doing on social media, to not have the common decency to just leave that one alone when somebody's actually really hurt. Come on, man, you're better than that.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're not. And if you're not, I got no time for you.
He ended with wanted a trade request, and then ended up signing a 4-year, $120 million contract. Hey, that's great, right? Well, he had a sluggish start to the season a couple of years ago. Then he and Shanahan got into a spat. Then later that season, Ayuk tore his ACL. That got him a little bit more angry. Now a squabble over his rehab. Said the 49ers are now looking to void the guarantees in his contract. John Lynch said back in January, I think it's safe to say he's played his last snap with the 49ers. Yeah, I'd say so.
And rightfully so.
That is a bad deal, man. Just show some class. Like, Brandon Ayuk, tremendous player. I don't know where he's at right now, but wide receivers are gone like Kaiser Sosa. Like, they disappear very quickly. So you got a little bit of money. Try to be a good guy and try to go get another job and another contract somewhere else and try to earn as much as you possibly can before the NFL kicks you to the curb, which they'll do it to everybody, especially wide receivers. So, yeah, this is doing you no favors. No GM is seeing this story today and being like, well, I want him in my locker room. Or seeing all the stuff that he's been saying in the past. Well, I want that guy on my team. Yeah, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze on that guy.
I don't either. I mean, as good as he can be at times, explosive, whatever, that's just a lot to deal with. And if he's doing that so overt, imagine all the little stuff that he does. It'd drive you crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's what you have to, as a GM, weigh when you're thinking about signing or trading for a guy that's a little bit of a hassle. Like, okay, like Dennis Rodman, there was a circus around Dennis Rodman. For all you kids out there, and you watch that Bulls documentary, Dennis Rodman was a circus. Like, as much of a circus as you can be pre-Twitter, pre-social media. There was a circus. Madonna was here in the Delta Center watching games because those two were connected. It was just a madhouse with Dennis Rodman.
He was wearing wedding dresses.
He was wearing wedding dresses. He married himself. Like, the dude was as weird as he possibly could be. But you know what? When he was out on the court, he helped you win. And the Chicago Bulls said, all right, is he worth the circus to help us win games and win championships? Michael, can you handle him? I got it. All right, let's go get him. It was worth it to them to go get the circus, and he helped them win games. The same thing, with other guys like that. But then you get to a certain point where, like, hey, he'll help us win games, but it's not going to be worth the circus that brings in. And as soon as you hit that moment, you hit that Laffer curve, and it goes starting to go down, then you're out. You're done, and nobody wants you. And you'll show up at a celebrity boxing match on FS1, like nobody cares anymore. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard alongside the coach, Tim LaComb. Coming up in just about 20 minutes from now, Dan Woken will join the program from Yahoo Sports, covering college sports. See if he has his thoughts on the turning landscape of athletics right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb.
Now I know y'all are tripping.
Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Great stuff, man. That's a great playlist today.
Thank you. Kevin McKinney, Austin, Texas. Go check him out. Spotify. Happens to be lead guitar player for the Party Hounds.
No big deal. You will see him on stage with
Yes,
you at the BYU Notre Dame pregame celebration.
He is he's our LeBron James. We were lucky to sign him. I would be more like your Dominic Barlow off the bench.
Dominic Barlow.
That would be I'm important, but not that important. He's the guy.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'm fired up to sit back and watch.
And
Utah
Utah
you guys
State has a bye that weekend.
We do.
Of all things, so it's perfect. We'll get Scotty down in. Well, we'll have to bring you in some dramatic fashion, like in the Utah State bowl outfit.
Yeah, that'll go over well at BYU. Yeah, I'll come out wearing the bowl gear, and that I'm sure that would
tambourine.
be the well received. Yeah, or the cowbell. It seems like a little bit more appropriate.
See, you're quick on your feet.
Yeah, I got you. All right, coming up a little bit later on, we'll chat with Dan Woken from Yahoo Sports. Everything's been kind of quiet on this Senate front, and we were supposed to hear more about this congressional bill, and that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. It could mean that they're still negotiating and coming right down to the wire to figuring out, okay, you want this, okay, we'll give you this, we can't give you that, how about we adjust to this? A lot of negotiating going on. We'll try to get an update because that would really change things for this upcoming season if a bill got passed before the start of the college football season, which, by the way, as coaches mentioned, is just 30 days away. So we'll chat with him and see if we can get an update on that.
I'm looking forward to talking to Dan. Heard Dan a lot on the show, and certainly been doing this for a long time. We'll have good insight for us.
Yeah, Dan's a keeper for sure. He's got opinions. Let's just say that. Dan is not short on opinions at all. All right, so there's a couple different ways guys can approach media day, and one of them is especially when they're expected to do good things. They're like, hey, look, these are meaningless. Everybody's 0-0. We haven't accomplished anything yet, blah, blah, blah. Oregon's taken a little bit of a different approach. So Dan Lanning on the dais earlier today said, we played as good a football as anyone in the country these last few years, and we haven't won a national championship. So we're close. It's time to attack 2026. New season, new team. We need to become the best version of us. It's time to win a national championship. And then somebody asked him what they need to take to take that next step. Quote, win every game. Said, look, the ball bounced the right way for our opponents a couple times last year, but you create your own luck too. As you go down to the end of the season, you've got to perform at the highest moments, and our guys have the chance to do that. They've been part of a Big Ten championship. They've done these things. We need to win it all. Wow.
He's putting a little pressure on himself.
Not about winning. Obviously that comes with winning a Big Ten championship, but saying, look, it's essentially saying it's national championship or bust for Oregon this year, who is picked to finish second in the Big Ten behind Ohio State.
He's one of my favorite interviews during games because he just looks, his eyes are wild, or even after they won, he's you definitely tell that ticker is beating, and yeah, they should win in Oregon. I mean, if money now is the end game, and big boosters giving money to the university, I mean, hell, that's been going on at Oregon for a long time. They got a big one too.
Yeah,
he didn't even need to ask.
The granddaddy of them all.
He didn't need to be like Dillingham out there, begging every time he gets the mic. He just goes and says, "Hey, Phil, we need another infusion.
I need this wide receiver really we need to get him." Well,
Can we release another shoe and maybe just get enough revenue?
Yeah, Oregon should be dominating. The world.
This
NIL.
particular time, they should be.
And that's. There's a lot. There's a lot of oil money in Texas. There's a lot of crazy money down south. But Phil Knight with the swoosh should be able to get anything done that needs to be done. Not just from a money standpoint, but from a endorsement standpoint. I mean, these kids have to be gobbling that stuff up.
And one of the worst kept secrets when NIL wasn't a thing was that Dana Altman might be one of the biggest. He comes off as this shucks guy.
Yeah.
He and Phil had a little arrangement.
Yeah.
And Oregon's dropped off since the NIL. Everybody else is able to get on the basketball side. Dana's not quite the guy he thought he might be. I think the money was propping him up pretty good.
When people were knocking him, and he's like, look, I'll just go. I was happier coaching junior college. I'll just go coach junior college. I don't think you're going to do that.
No, you like the money too, Dana.
Yeah,
and
we all do.
Attention.
Yes. That's a dude that was wired pretty tight too.
Oh, I can't remember exactly the scenario. We drew them in the tournament. We played them in Milwaukee. But somehow, some way, there was an article written, because we'd played them earlier in the year and actually played pretty well against them. So it was like an article written saying, hey, BYU's got a chance or whatever. He was standing out in the hall when we came in, and he looked at our staff, and he's like, oh, so you want the Ducks, huh?
Oh, jeez.
Something like that.
Oh, jeez.
He might have been one of the bigger idiots that I had to deal with through all the years. I'm just letting that uncork now. Dana Altman's, Dana's about Dana.
Yeah. Well, there was a game where they played an NIT game in Logan against Utah State. That was Ryan Odom's first year, and you could tell he was just horrifically appalled that they had to come to Logan to play a first-round NIT game. And there was a moment in that first half. I know Ashworth was playing, and Ashworth hit a couple big shots, and Utah State had them. They were up by like 6 or 7 with about 5 minutes left to go in the first half. And there was that moment when you can break a team, and they didn't break him, and then Oregon comes back and just overwhelms them with talent in the second half. But just watching him roam the sidelines, it's like, okay, you learn a lot about coaches on how they handle themselves in the course of a game.
Yeah, you do. You actually do, and I'm sure you've got a list of guys that you're like, hey, those guys seem like pretty good dudes, and then a whole nother list of whoa.
There's some guys that actually surprise you a little bit, and I was really fascinated by watching Rick Pitino coach because you would think, and this is when he was it Iona? What was it? Small.
Yep.
Okay. He was at Iona, and it was that Diamond Head Classic, and Utah State had finished a game, and then they were playing, and I just sat right behind their bench because, as you mentioned, in some of these tournaments, you can walk and get any seat you want in the building, and so I just sat behind his bench just to watch him coach. And I was fascinated by how hands-on of a coach he was. Like, I mean, he would get after guys, but I would think he would be a guy that would just sit down and let the assistants handle everything. Dude, he was all over the place. And so I'm like, okay, he may not be a particularly good human being, but he's coaching hard.
Oh, he coaches really, really hard. Former Ute, Ricky Johns, Garfield Ricky Johns played for us during the Ray Giacoletti era. He's from Long Island, but he's one of Rick's assistants now, one of his main assistants. So, he's got a big job because he's like Rick Majerus. He's definitely into detail and leaves no stone unturned.
All right, take a break. High noon. Dan Walken joins us next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Center.